Finally, it's Monday again. Welcome back, YouTube, to Psychology Every Day. Today it is Monday, which means Motivation Monday. First, I want to tell you, if my teeth are unusually yellow, it's because I have this sort of tobacco today, which just smudges all over your mouth, and it's delicious. But it's possible that I'm gonna have mouth surgery on Wednesday. And if I do, I can't use any tobacco for at least 2 weeks. And so I want to, while I can, I'm just going to get the most out of it. So no bags or anything, just loose stuff like this. Amazing. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the 3 things that are holding you back in life from achieving whatever it is that you want. And then we're going to talk about 3 things that you want to have to achieve anything you want. And if we have time, we're going to go over a bonus theory. But let's start here. The first thing that is holding you back is fear. This is fear of failure, embarrassment, right? Fear of rejection. This has to do with other people, of course, and fear of pain. And this sort of gets built into you, from experience and learning, and also, of course, what other people tell you. And a big problem is that fear is sort of, it's silent in a way, so that you are afraid of things even though you don't know it in your conscious. You are subconsciously afraid of these things. And what you have to do is basically to identify why you are not doing something and what are you actually afraid of. Do a risk analysis, and it will become a whole lot easier. Why are you afraid to go for that job or ask that girl out or whatever? What is going to happen if things doesn't go the way you want to? And is that, the end of the world? No, of course, it's not the end of the world. Sorry. The second one, and this is, in my opinion, perhaps the biggest one, and that is laziness. Laziness is basically the greatest obstacle in our lives in Western society, but perhaps in most of human existence. Just imagine if you were never, ever, ever lazy or tired. If you just, from the second you got up in the morning to, when you go to bed at night, imagine if you just worked as hard as you could. And, it's a hypothetical, so don't say you get burned out or whatever. Better talk about burnout in a different video. But just imagine how much you could get done in an 8-hour workday at your job. It's amazing how much you can get done, at least if you have a real job, not a fake job, where you just sit and have meetings and whatever. So just think about that. You have 8 additional hours after that you could spend either on yourself, your home, or, build a company, build a side hustle, as they say. But the problem is that our dopamine systems and our brain is built for comfort. And this is a huge problem, because comfort and laziness is basically the same thing. And one of the problems is that we can't see the reward, because we know from computer games psychology that if you can see a reward, an experience bar, achievement points, stuff like that, there is absolutely no limit to the grind that we're willing to put in. So what you do is you gamify life. You get a journal and you actually create little bars and checkboxes and stuff like that. Set rewards for yourself, and this works amazing for kids as well, by the way, but better for adults actually, because we sort of don't really compare a piece of paper to a video game, whereas kids if they play video games, the paper will still appear boring. This is when you use your feeling ability instead of your thinking ability. And when you start to, value if you should do something based on how you feel about it, then you have to consider how you feel about it. And I know that won't make sense for some of you, but everyone knows if you have had a super good routine on your workouts, then you don't check in with your vibes. Am I going to the gym today? Especially if you have a routine with friends. So, if you're going Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 to the gym, you never question, do I want to? Do I feel like it? You kind of skip that process. And if you instead use your thinking ability, and I'm not being condescending or whatever, this is actual Jungian psychology, your thinking function, then you will make a decision based on what is good for you, and then it will feel good to do the right thing. Sounds brain dead simple, but it's huge. Really huge. Just imagine if you think about your run that you're going to take today, and you think about it logically and rationally, what you're going to get out of it, result-wise, health-wise, and feeling good afterwise, instead of considering, do I want to? Do I feel like it? There are so many things that I would never, ever, ever do again if I just considered how I feel about them. My life would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. So don't ask yourself how it feels. Ask yourself what you get out of it. For me, in the gym, I found it very interesting, the difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding. Because in bodybuilding, you would always go by how it feels, trying to achieve the burn, or getting a pump, or getting close to failure, or feeling your muscle work. And in powerlifting, you're just trying to move weight, and it's very methodical and mathematical. And I always found powerlifting to be extremely easy effort, and bodybuilding was just such a chore. And I realized later that it was because when I'm doing powerlifting, I never ask myself how it feels. I only look at, is it possible? How does it look like? And how fast does the bar move? So I'm not really, using the feeling emoji, so to say. I'm just bypassing it. And you can too. And you do it all the time already with things that you have to do. There's a difference between musts and shoulds. Måsten och borden in Swedish. Things that you absolutely have to do, you do without considering if you want to. And then you don't have to involve your executive function. And then there is no mental effort involved. So if you can shift your mindset to, I have to do this thing, then it won't be hard at all. And this is the threshold. And what that means is there's always a bit of a, threshold to getting things done. If you have ADD or, some other problem with executive function, you know about this threshold extremely well. And that is that everything comes at, a small resistance, no matter what it is. And I have a carpenter friend, and he works 40 hours a week doing carpentry, very skilled. And he told me about how one of the rooms in his house has, a thing that needs to be done. And it would take him no more than 30 minutes to get it done. And it took him years to actually get it done. Just because when you get home, you're tired, you have, spent your dopamine, so to speak, you've made money and you just want to relax, and suddenly that threshold is as big as Mount Everest in practice. And, there are various ways of practicing to get over this threshold. But one of them is, as we talked about last Monday, turning the process into the goal. So work is, the goal. And then, of course, little things like that become very easy. But using Steve-O's 3-2-1 method, or 1-2-3 method, is also very effective. I use it all the time. When there's something I don't want to do, I do a Steve-O and I say 1, 2, 3, go. And when you do that, you have to do it. And you may never fail. You may never ruin your streak, so to speak. But you only, start a countdown only if you are sure that you will be able to follow through. Don't be like, I'm gonna paint the house right now. It's 10 o'clock at night, but 1, 2, 3, go, and then you don't do it. Then you ruin the method. You always have to follow through. The third thing that will stand in your way of your goals is people, other people. And one of the things that other people do is create an inner voice inside of you. This is the superego in Freudian psychology. And, this has been explained in many other terms after Freud. And everyone's like, it's so funny. People are always critiquing Freud and ragging on Freud and how he's so bad. Just one of his terms has, coined separate fields of psychology, and people admire this field so much, and then they rag on Freud, which is super hilarious, because the entire social learning field in psychology is this. So it's ridiculous, actually. And basically, when people are trying to hold you down, pull you back, especially your parents, of course, they mean well most of the time, but it's also going to create a passive voice that will tell you to stop, to back down, to not do that thing, even in situations where you are supposed to do the thing. So you carry mostly your parents' voice with you, and you internalize it. And you have to identify that voice and separate it, because it's good to have, as we talked about in operant conditioning, which is also this, by the way. It is good to learn to, listen to that inner voice when it tells you, don't punch that guy in the face. It's a bad idea, even though you really want to. Your 5 closest people, and this is straight out of Andrew Tate's playbook, by the way, will make up the sum of your life. And the more you carry this with you throughout life, you will learn more and more that it is true. Another good guy, a psychiatrist, Dr. K on YouTube, talked about how, it's so obvious to us that what we put in our body and what we do with our body will, create a certain type of body, either a healthy one or an unhealthy one, either a fit body, a jacked body, or an out of shape body. And it's that easy, what you put into it and what you do with it. And of course, like he said, the same is true for your mind. What do you put into your head, and what do you do with your mind? And if you surround yourself with shitty people that, cause emotional turmoil, and they are losers, you too will become a loser or very unhappy. And of course, we're not only talking about family and friends, we're talking about foes, your enemies, your competitors. Of course, these people are going to try and stop you. And there's nothing you can do really about that except to be better. But that is not hard these days, because literally half of everyone is stuck, scrolling TikTok. And, like I talked about in an earlier video, becoming the top 1% in anything is ridiculously easy. Now, becoming the top 0.1% is very hard, but you don't have to do that. If you are the top 1% in anything, you're gonna have a great time and you're gonna get, top results. So, when looking at problems, challenges, or goals, we use sense of coherence model, CASAM, super good model, and basically it's 3 points. Is it manageable? Is it understandable? And is it meaningful? So when you are stuck with a problem or a challenge, and you feel like you don't want to do it, it is not, of course not, that you don't want to do it. You know you want to do it. That is why you have this problem. You're trying to find motivation to do something that you want to do. It sounds insane, but that is how it is, and it is normal. I want to work out, I want to be jacked, I want to be fit, but why don't I want to work out? Problem. And this is, beautiful model. Aaron Antonovsky, just a king. And it's so sad that he was a sociologist and not a psychologist. Hurts my soul. Is it manageable, and how manageable is it? If you understand what it takes and you can identify it, this is more about having a fog sort of in your mind. And of course, if you do know, can I manage it? So when talking about working out, you may have this sort of vague idea about, oh man, I'm gonna have to spend 2 hours every day running, and I can't manage that. It's too much, I don't like it enough. So it's gonna outweigh the meaningfulness. Because this is on a scale, right? From 0 to 10. If it is a 10, nothing else matters. If it is a 0, nothing else matters. If it is a 4, here, it has to be quite understandable and quite manageable. So take, brushing your teeth. Of course, this is meaningful. It is a 4. It is not as important as, on a day-to-day single-use basis, as important as, watching your kids grow up, of course. So it has to be quite manageable, and it is quite manageable. It's only 2 5-minute things a day, and it is very easily understandable. But working out, let's say it's actually a 7. But in your mind, it is unmanageable. And then that only covers a 2 in meaningfulness. And you don't understand it. So these 2 allow for a meaningful activity of, it's going to be here. It has to be an 8 in the meaningful category, or else you won't do it. And that is why you don't do it. This calculation has already been done in your head, but you can change it. And how can you change it? By educating yourself, making it more understandable, and making it more manageable via understanding, of course. But, you know, some people say with pride that if I do something, I do it all out. That is a retarded idea, because that means that everything that is good, that is challenging, you won't do at all. So, because a lot of people, I used to work as a personal trainer, I ran a gym, I'm a coach in powerlifting and arm wrestling. So many people believe that you have to shift your entire life to become fit. You have to shift your entire diet, and you have to work out every day, and you have to run or do something else that you don't want to do. That is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely not true. If you don't change your diet at all and work out with weight training, which is for sure the most comfortable sort of training, for 3 times a week, an hour each time, you're gonna see results. And if you want to shift your diet a little bit, this is a good example of law of diminishing returns. So I'm going to use here. If you have a shit diet, let's see, you get results like this. This is shit diet, this is a 0. Shit diet and shit training, which means no training. And you have done this for a long time, you're going to stay at 0 results. If you don't change your diet, but you add, a medium amount of training, so 3 hours a week divided in 3 times, it's going to do a lot. This is a 5. This is a 10. And if you add as much, it's not going to go up as much. You understand? And if you add, a good diet as well, a decent diet, a lot of protein, no candy, chips, or cake, and with this training, that's a 7.5. And then to get up to a 10, then you're going to have to add a lot. Law of diminishing returns. Medium amounts will give more than medium results. But to get perfect results, you have to do everything perfect. Make it manageable, understandable. If it is meaningful enough, this doesn't matter. Okay? I'm going to save this, actually, for the next Monday. Just to keep you hooked in. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great week. Have a great Monday. Don't let things get in the way of you achieving your dreams. Please like, subscribe, and please comment. I like comments.